Hello, heroes and villains. Welcome to AArdvark Poker. My name is Steven, and I'm your host. We all like a good bluff and take the pot when we don't have the best hand. And you probably heard the phrase, if your bluffs don't get called, you don't bluff enough. But if bluff goes wrong, it can also put a dent in our win rate. And we can try and prevent this. So today is another episode, the series Bluffs Go Wrong.
No!
Now this hand was played at PokerStars NL 25 full ring table. So let's dive right into it. Now let's have a look at the hand. Heroes in the big blind with ace 10 off. Villain, under the gun. Shorter stack of 79 big blinds. I think he just joined the table. He posts the blinds before his turn. Probably pretty fishy. He raises the two big blinds. Villain in the hijack calls. Button calls. And I think here, well, we can squeeze or we can call. I decided to call here. But you can also make an argument to squeeze. Especially if we think that the villains are particularly weak. Flop. Jacks through. So I think nobody has a strong jack or set of fours, set of threes. The turn brings the 5 of diamonds. Now we hold the ace of diamonds. So straight draw and a flush draw. I think we can represent a flush here too. So I decided to lead out for a bit more than half pot. Villain under the gun calls and also the button calls. Now the river brings in the 3 of hearts, pairs the board, but as mentioned, I don't think there are many boats out there. If the only possibility is 5 full of threes, I decided to continue my bluff and bet almost full pot, and our villain under the gun called. Let's have a look at the villains in this hand. Under the gun started with a short stack, posted the blind before his turn, so probably pretty fishy. The hijack, we only had 7 hands, so pretty much unknown. And the button seems rather passive. High VPIP, but a very large gap with his pre-flop raise stat of only a 7. Now we try to do a range analysis after the flop. Right? The flop checks through. What does it mean? It probably rules out that somebody has a very strong jack or set. Probably have bet that hand to protect from straight draw, possible flush draw. And would they have drafts, perhaps? Multiway, some people, or most people may play their draws rather passively. After the turn, both of our villains call. So, what mate hands can they have? Of course, it could be a weak pair, jack with a weak kicker, or under pair. They may have a low flush, it's like 8-9 of diamonds that they elect not to raise, or a bit of a straight. Don't want to raise because of the 3 flush cards out there. But they could also have a draw, like a king high flush draw, like king queen off, king 10 off. So on the river, we have to decide, shall we bluff or not? To help decide whether to bluff or not, I like to go through a couple of questions inspired by Jonathan Little from Poker Coaching. First question, can villain fold? Well, in this case we're facing 2 villains, so the chance that both will fold is a lot lower. Do we have showdown value? Well, maybe you could say, well, we have ace high, But again, we're facing two villains. The chances are much higher that somebody will have something. So both of these questions point towards that we shouldn't try to bluff. Third question is, do we have value hands in our range? Well, yes, of course we have in our range. Our range contains flushes, straights, boats. So we do have value hands in our range, so that speaks in favor of bluffing. And we also have relevant blockers. We have the ace of diamonds, so we block the nut flush. In terms of sizing of our bluff, if we bluff, what size should we take? Well, we block the nut flush, so it speaks in favor of betting large. We also represent flushes and boats, and villain likely has a marginal hand that we want to get him off of. So this all speaks in favor of betting large. Now, of course, if villain is inelastic to size, at this point we don't know, but if we have prior reach on villain, we may bet smaller to just have a cheaper bluff. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, the showdown. Villain under the gun called our bet with a pair of eights. The hand we would like to get him off. And this is, of course, why this bluff has gone wrong. Now, if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. And leave a comment if you think he would have played this hand differently.